from the Lakeside Newsroom of the Henrico Citizen, your hometown news source since 2001. This is the Henrico News Minute with publisher Tom Lapis.
Some encouraging news on the unemployment front in Henrico and what happened to plans for the Glen High School ACE Center. We'll have details about those stories and more in today's Henrico News Minute. It's Friday, October 16th, 2020, and today's News Minute is brought to you by the Lakeside Farmers Market.
And now for the news.
What happened to the proposed Glen High School Advanced Career Education Center? That's what one Henrico School Board member would like to know. Back in 2016, county voters approved a $419.8 million bond referendum, which included a number of school projects, among them the $37 million for the construction of the Glen ACE Center, which would train students in a number of careers. But now the money for that project no longer exists. It was spent instead to cover cost overruns on other school projects from the referendum, or held in reserve in case meals tax money slated for other school projects did not materialize because of the pandemic. And that's not sitting well with Brooklyn District School Board member Christy Kinsella, whose district includes Glen High School. She did not hold back her frustration about the disappearance of funding for the project during last week's school board meeting. She said, quote, "As the Brooklyn District representative, let me be clear, $37 million of a project needs to happen in my district," end quote. Superintendent Amy Cashwell told Kinsella that $1.5 million in funding was spent for the design of the center, but she wasn't certain how much of the remaining amount had been applied to other bond projects and how much had been held in reserve to potentially cover meals tax revenue. As recently as last November, school planning officials still showed $35.5 million for the ACE Center as part of their proposed capital improvement program for the current fiscal year. Of that amount, $27 million still was slated to come from the bond referendum funds. Kinsella said, quote, "I question the integrity of the bond if we're going to vote on things that don't come to fruition and the public does not have a say-so," end quote. Tuckahoe District Board member Marcy Shea echoed Kinsella's concern, saying that voters should feel confident knowing that what they're approving will actually be built. Now, the ACE Center at Glen was not the only such facility identified in the referendum that hasn't yet come to fruition. The plan also called for construction of a $42 million ACE Center in eastern Henrico, but that money was applied instead to the construction of a new $98 million Highland Springs High School, a project that came about after the referendum had already passed. On Henrico Citizen right now, you can read much more about this topic and plans for the ACE program countywide by clicking on News and then Education. Some good economic news yesterday in Henrico. For the first time since the pandemic began, fewer than 200 county residents filed initial unemployment claims during the most recent reporting week. That was according to the Virginia Employment Commission. A total of 191 Henricoans filed first-time claims between October 4th and 10th. That was a drop of 26% from the previous week. That was still the 8th highest total among state localities, one filer behind Newport News. Overall, the state witnessed a decrease of about 16% in first-time filers from the previous week. Since the pandemic began, Henrico has now witnessed nearly 40,700 residents file initial claims. About 5,500 of them are still filing continuing claims. That total is 6th highest among state localities. The number of new COVID-19 cases in Henrico reported the past few days has been rising a bit. Yesterday, the county reported 49 new cases, according to the Virginia Department of Health. In total now, it's witnessed 5,881 cases since the pandemic began. The agency also reported 2 new COVID-related hospitalizations in the county yesterday. Henrico's 7-day positivity percentage has decreased slightly, down to 3.8% as of October 11th. A student-led group called Henrico Justice will hold a demonstration at Short Pump Park on Saturday from 2 to 4 p.m. to march for justice for Breonna Taylor, a woman who was shot and killed by police in Louisville, Kentucky earlier this year. It'll be the organization's 4th local march, each of which has attracted about 100 people. In addition to the march, the event also will feature speakers, performers, and artists. Next Thursday, Tuckahoe District Supervisor Pat O'Bannon will host a virtual Tuckahoe Town Meeting to introduce Police Chief Eric English and discuss the future of policing in the county. The meeting will be held from 1 to 2 p.m. You can view it by visiting the Henrico Government channel on YouTube. You can also submit questions in advance to pob@patobannon.com or in the video's comment section during the meeting. Today's Henrico News Minute has been brought to you by the Lakeside Farmers Market. Be sure to stop by tomorrow between 9 a.m. and noon and check them out at 6110 Lakeside Avenue underneath the pavilion. You can also visit facebook.com/Lakeside Market RVA to learn more.